Ohayou gozaimasu everybody, and welcome to day 1 of length. Okay, just kind of following on from our topic of weight and capacity, we are now looking at length. And just like weight and capacity, we start off with our vocabulary. So we're going to use that story, How Long is a Whale, and we're going to do our own version of the story. What I need you to do first of all is find one thing you would like to measure against. So for example, in How Long is a Whale, we wanted to know how long a whale is. Okay, and that was going to be our basis. For me, I'm going to use my fancy chopsticks. Okay, so how long is a chopstick? Okay, so I'm just going to take one, and then I'm going to use some different objects to measure against. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to give you just a quick moment to go and find some objects that you would like to use. Okay, once you've done that, come back and we're going to give this a start. Okay. Okay, so how long is a chopstick? Well, I have a chopstick. Okay, and this is what it looks like. Okay, it is this long, but I need to know how long. Okay, and we're going to use some different objects to measure against. Okay, we're going to use them to compare against and almost use it as a non-standard measurement. Now, we did that with weight, where we use spoonfuls rather than exact grams or kilograms, and we're not going to use exact centimeters or meters today. We're going to just use objects to measure against. Okay, so for example, I would like to know how long my chopstick is in comparison to cubes. So if I put them out, and I'm just going to see how many it takes to be the same length as my chopstick. Okay, so let's keep going. Do you think I need a few more? I think I do. Okay, I'm just going to move them further back so you can see a little bit better. Okay. Okay, I think I still need a little few more, so I'm going to add a couple more. Okay, and I think that's about right. If I had one more, it would be a little bit too long. Okay, so this is how long my chopstick is in cubes. So if I count them up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so one chopstick is the same as 11 cubes. Okay, so at home you would have your item, whether it is a Superman figure or whether it is a fork, and you would then measure it against something else. Okay, so in this case, the chopstick, one chopstick is the same length as 11 cubes. Okay, does that make sense? So one chopstick is the same as 11 cubes. Okay, but I've just missed out a word there. We're going to say the same length. So length is when we're measuring how long something is or how short something is, okay, or a distance. Okay, so my chopstick, one chopstick is the same length as 11 cubes. Okay, right, we're going to get rid of the cubes. Let's try something else. So one chopstick is the same as, well, let's have a look at my coins. Okay. Not quite enough coins, so I'm going to get some more. Ooh, that was loud. Okay, so let's get a few more coins. And these are pennies. Okay, so I have my chopstick. Now I've got my coins behind. In fact, I'll move them the other way around so you can see a bit better. Okay, so we have my chopstick and we have my coins. I do need a little few more. Okay, so let's keep going. So I would say that was around the same length. Okay, so one chopstick is the same length as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pennies. Okay, so one chopstick is the same length as 11 cubes. One chopstick is the same length as 11 pennies. Okay, let's find something else. Okay, now in How Long is a Whale, they actually combined a few things. So for example, I have one pen and it's still not long enough to fill my chopstick. Okay, it's shorter. Okay, shorter. So I might combine a few items. So one chopstick is the same length as one pen and there we go. So one chopstick is the same length as 1 pen and 4 cubes. Okay, so 1 chopstick is the same length as 1 pen and 4 cubes. Okay, right, I'm going to do another one where I'm going to combine a few items, and I want you to shout out the sentence, okay, the stem sentence. For example, when we had 1 chopstick is the same length as 11 pennies. So you have your item and how many. So 1 chopstick is the same length as, and then your comparative items, 11 cubes, 11 pennies, 1 pen and 4 cubes. Okay, so we've got 1 chopstick again. Now this is my figure from a game I love called Final Fantasy, and again it is a game that originates in Japan. Okay, it's from a company called Squaresoft, and they are based in Japan, and this is Tifa. Okay, this is Tifa. So 1 chopstick is the same length as 1 Tifa, and oh, it's just not quite long enough. So if I have my chopstick here, just got a little bit of a gap. So 1 Tifa and 1, 2, 3 pennies. Okay, so you say it for me. How many chopsticks? 1 is the same length as 1 Tifa and 1, 2, 3 pennies. So say it back for me. 1 is the same as 1 Tifa and pennies. Brilliant. Now that's pretty much for just day 1. It's just about getting used to using stem sentences and comparing a type of object and the length against other objects. Okay, tomorrow we will look at making things longer, making things shorter, and then ordering those as well. Although I do have a little activity in the Google Classroom for those of you signed up to our Google Classroom, which is ordering caterpillars, okay, by size, okay, just to get you used to looking at what's longer, what's shorter, what's bigger, what's smaller, okay. But for today's lesson, you are picking 1 item, be any item you want, and then you are comparing different things to the size of that item, just like in How Long is a Whale, okay, which I will also upload to YouTube for those of you who have not heard it. Okay, so in your house you might have a chopstick, okay, you might have, like I say, a superhero figure, or in my case this is Tifa, which is amazing, okay, but she won't stand up, she's so amazing. She can't stand up properly. There we go. Okay, you might have your Superman outfit. You might have a Batman figure. You might have a spatula. You might have a book. You might have your own arm. Okay, but just pick 1 thing that you're going to compare against. So in my case, it was a chopstick. Then have smaller items, or even items nearly the same size, to compare against. And I want you to get used to saying those stem sentences. So for example, 1 chopstick is the same as 11 cubes. And if you're feeling really, really ambitious, maybe you could write me down 3 stem sentences. Okay, so it could be 1 chopstick is the same as 11 cubes. 1 chopstick is the same as 11 pennies. 1 chopstick is the same as 1 Tifa and 3 pennies. Okay, so that is your challenge today. Okay, get used to using that language. So for weight, we had heavier and lighter. For capacity, we had fuller and empty. And then for length, we have longer and shorter, or bigger and smaller. Okay, but we're probably going to use the longer, shorter. Okay, but we will look at that in more depth tomorrow. Today, you are just comparing items. Okay, so I hope that you are enjoying our Japan topic so far. For those of you who are participating in our Google Classroom, for those of you who aren't, so sorry, but we'll try and get as much on YouTube as humanly possible. But until then, sayonara.